Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Dulcimerica. My name is Futch. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be tuning into CGG, which is actually the traditional mountain dulcimer tuning, and I'll show you some insights about that. And also, this is a requested Dulcimail segment for a tune that I wrote called Come On With Me. But before I go any further with that, I want to say a big shout out to Tom Corrigan, one of my patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much, Tom, for all of your support and for all of your encouragement since I began my Patreon campaign in September of 2014. The patrons are amazing. They help produce the Dulcimerica video podcast, they've helped produce a number of albums, and they also make possible educational programs at schools and libraries. So thank you all very much for all that you do to help make the art happen on a daily basis. Now, if you'd like to find out more about my Patreon campaign, please visit patreon.com/bingfutch right down here and take a look. Watch the introductory video and check out all the freebies that are on the patron-only feed, which will be unlocked. Once you become a patron, it doesn't take much more than $5 to get in there and get everything, including my entire CD collection. Check it out, and I appreciate you. And Tom Corrigan, again, thank you so much for your patronage. Right now I'm in DAA tuning. I'm going to drop this down to CGG, and the first thing I'm going to do here, I've got my iPhone with the Peterson Strobo Tuner app on there. Peterson makes those awesome tuners that clip on. I don't know where mine are right now, so I'm using the phone app. So I'm going to drop the D string down to C. You basically want to get those strobe bars to stop moving. And this tuner tells you exactly how close you are. It's very accurate. Taking this down to G. Close enough for rock and roll. And down to G. The dulcimer in CGG sounds killer. Nice low voice here. Sounds so nice. One thing I do want to mention though, when you start getting into tuning your dulcimer down, is that you may want to change the string gauges on your dulcimer. Whatever you're using for DAD is just fine for DAD or DAA. But when you come down to C, you're going down a whole step and you are loosening the tension on your strings just a little bit. That can result in poor intonation because there's so much slack in the strings. If you use the same hand pressure, finger pressure on the fingerboard, it won't take much for those notes to go sharp because you're pressing them down, and they're actually very easy to press down. So you may want to bump up your string gauges if you've got another dulcimer. So if you're using a 26, for example, on the bass string, or a 24, you might want to bump that up to a 28, just to take up some of that tension. And be very thoughtful about your strings and the gauges that you use, because they're a very, very integral part of the music that you make on the dulcimer. So, this is going out to Bill. Bill wants to find out how to play Come On With Me. Now, I don't have tab for this because it's all chords, but I'm happy to show you what those chords are. But right now, I'll go ahead and I'll play the tune for you. I wrote this back in, I don't know, the 90s or something like that. Here we go. Won my freedom. You can keep your accolades, I don't need them. No shackles binding, tie me down. What goes around sure comes around. Miss Argentina, there's no beer left in this cantina. Desert sun left me dry. Come on, baby, it's time to fly. We're still young, and we've got all the time in the world. We're still young, and we've got all the time in the world. Come on with me, come on with me, come on by my side. Come on with me, come on with me, come on, take this ride. I waited all this time to leave. I'm just asking you to believe in me. Ha! These southern nights, they make me sad. I wanna see them LA lights so bad. By the gold reflection in your eyes, by the company of fireflies. We're still young, and we've got all the time in the world. We're still young, and we got all the time in the world now. Your love, the love this much is true, and I will take good care of you. Don't leave the man who made you cry. Come on, baby, it's time to fly. Well, we're still young, and we got all the time in the world. We're still young, and we got all the time in the world now. Come on with me, come on with me, come on by my side. Come on with me, come on with me, come on, take this ride. I waited all this time to leave. I'm just asking you to believe in me. Ha! All right now. Baby, baby, let me see you smile. We cross the state line one more mile. There it is. Come on with me. All right, let's walk through this. Number one, big important thing here is that this song is rhythmically propelled. It's really all about the right hand. The chords themselves are not a real big deal. It's what you're doing with this hand and also what you're doing with the left hand as far as doing a left hand mute. So first of all, the rhythm. It sounds a little bit like a Bo Diddley rhythm, a little bit like a ham bone rhythm, you know. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start working on the rhythm. You don't want to think too much about the right hand, so you can focus on moving chords around and, of course, singing the song. So the rhythm we're looking at, I'm going to mute the strings by laying my hands on top of the strings but not pressing down. Notice how I'm varying that a little bit. What I've got here is basically just a series of 16th note rhythms happening with the right hand. If I went straight 16th notes, it would not be very exciting. But by changing the accents, playing those accents a little bit louder, I can create a nice forceful ham bone rhythm. Practice doing that so that you don't have to think too much about what your right hand is doing. The rest of it will come to you naturally. Now another thing I'm doing with this left hand mute is I'm playing chords, but I'm also taking my fingers off of the fretboard, leaving them on the strings. It's very hard to see that from the top camera, but I'm lifting my fingers up off the fretboard and keeping them on the strings. Now that's not helping the middle string at all, because as I strike that, notice it still rings out even after I take the thumb and the forefinger off of their respective strings. So I take the ring finger and this whole assembly down here, and I just come in and I mute that when I'm ready. So I don't get any ring out through that middle string. It's not coming down heavy, it's coming down just enough to mute the string. So some variations on that. Notice here once again, coming down to mute that string so it doesn't ring out. And we want to get some breaks in between the rhythms to really make it stick out and really groove. You could really just work that groove with those chords. And all we're doing is playing an A chord and then going to open D and then coming up to D and then going back down again. So just play those chords and experiment with different variations that you can do. And I would just do that a lot because that is basically what's happening during the verses. A whole bunch of that and then you singing over the top of it. So the only thing that's different in that verse section is this little thing. And then it goes back in. So we're going from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, 4th fret to the 3rd fret, and then I lead off from the 5th to the 4th. A little syncopated. Okay, so then we go on to the chorus. Come on with me. We're going to do an A-shaped chord, 2, 1, 3, and we're going to bounce that back and forth between another A-shaped chord, 4, 3, 5. So, come on with me, come on with me, come on by my side, come on with me, come on with me, come on, take this ride. It changes up a little bit here. It goes from this chord to a T-shaped chord, to another T-shaped chord that we don't need to fret the middle string. And then I add another note to that. Second part of that goes from here to our T shape here, and then just bass and melody on the 3rd fret. So and that's all the chords. That's everything else. You go right back into the groove. And that's how the song ends as well. Just like that. So for Bill, I know he's out there and he really likes this song. I don't have any tab for it, like I mentioned, because I'm not playing melodic notes just as a support for chords. I'm actually playing an instrumental version of the tune. I'm singing it. So for those of you brave enough to tackle this one, I'm all for hearing you do that. But that is a little tutorial on a number of different things. Not just how to play this tune and the chords and the rhythm, but also thinking about your strings and tightening those gauges up, going to a thicker gauge if you're going to be playing lower, and maintaining proper tension on the strings so you can keep your intonation nice and fresh. And if you don't have that ability, you may want to just not press down as hard as you do when you play in D on the dulcimer. When you're playing in C, use a little bit of a lighter gauge. But if you're using lighter gauges already in D, then C is going to be kind of weird for you. Do bump those gauges up and you'll find much, much better results. Thank you so much for joining me again for Dulcimerica, and I'll be back very soon with another episode. Until next time, once again, I'm Bing Futch. Thank you for joining me.